How is it going, my bros and hoes? I can see your lovely faces there, smiling from the crowd. I am ready to entertain. Yes, I have a battle against Xenon3120. If you've heard of me, you've heard of him. And in case you haven't, I'll leave his link in the video description. He's a great guy, makes some great battles. And he is running the Pokemosh Pit channel now that it has been revitalized. So if you want to get on PMP, just sweet talk him, bribe him, whatever. He'll try and fit you in somewhere. But it was a pretty cool match. Nice PU battle, which I had just yesterday, I think. The Smogon Battle Finder's still down. Actually, I think the whole of Smogon's down, but so as not to force myself to go onto Cerebi to look for battles, I figured, hey, let's ask around on the PMP sort of directors or whatever who's around. And Xenon offered, so I said, yeah, let's do it. I lead off with my Luminion, and I think I did predict the camera up lead, so I figure, okay, I'll double straight out into my Flareon because I think Ivysaur is his best switch into my Luminion, and this way I can at least get my Toxic activated and then go for some Flame Charges from there. But he's going to go into Yamask. By the way, Yamask, I should point out, that's a very hard word for me to say. Because of my accent, I'm naturally inclined to say Yamask, but that just sounds ridiculous, so I have to force myself to say Yamask. So you can see that he's got the Yamask and the Slacking. That is the infamous Mummy King combo, so I definitely need to be, you know, careful not to allow that Slacking to get rid of its Truant ability, because otherwise that thing's gonna just tear a hole through my team, basically. That thing is gonna be the main threat, to be honest. So I got into my Exploud here, figuring, okay, let's go for some Echoed Voices. I have Scrappy, so I could hit the Yamask if he did stay in there. In comes the Ivysaur. Don't do that much, considering that was a crit, but I guess that was only the first Echoed Voice. I am Choice Specs, by the way, so I figure, okay, I can just try and get off some big damage before he does whatever it is that Ivysaur does, but it turns out he goes for Sleep Powder. I probably should have predicted that, but I don't know what I was thinking. But now I do some derpy switching around, thinking that he was going to switch into his Slacking on one of those turns, and then I thought he'd switch into something else on another turn. I did have logical reasons for those switches, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But in comes the Yamask once again, gonna go for that Flame Charge because I got no reason not to. Now, I kind of think I may as well Baton Pass again. I don't really see too much point in trying to stay in and Flame Charge some more. So I'm just going to go into Shrew Manchu, as he is going to obviously predict my Baton Pass there, go for the knockoff. But I am also going to play the same sort of card here, going to go for a knockoff on the incoming Ivysaur, as opposed to the Stealth Rocks, because I figure, hey, definitely do not want Ivysaur around, leech seeding and stalling me out. So now I think I did predict his switch back out to Yamask there, predicting my switch into Flareon, so I thought, let's get up Rocks, even if, you know, he doesn't switch out to that. I should be faster at +1 than an Ivysaur. Sandshrew is pretty slow, but then again, so is Ivysaur, right? So now I go to my Behemoth as he goes to his Ivysaur once again. I am just going to go straight for the Psychic this turn. Don't want to mess around with this thing anymore, and just want to get it out of the way. So that's what happens. Unfortunately, Behemoth is slow as anything, so I do have to take the Toxic, but that's not a big deal. I'm not going to be staying in for too long anyway. Especially when he has that big-ass threat Mightyena. Do not mess with Mightyena. Let me tell you, my friends. Oh, you will regret the day you ever underestimated Mightyena. But I kind of figure, okay, he's not going to attack first turn. He's going to sub or do Howl or something. Like some kind of setup move, because my switch is obvious. But now, I definitely do not want to stay in here because I don't want to take a crunch or whatever, so I'm going to pull a switch out into my Sandshrew, I think? Yeah, as it goes into his Camerupt. I don't know if he predicted that, or he just wanted to go in a Camerupt to get up Rocks or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and switch out. I could have potentially just gone for Earthquake, but I kind of thought, well, I'll keep the offensive pressure on. I'll go into Luminion. Luminion's great, man. You gotta love Luminion. Mainly for the Cry, also for the fact that it does get Tailwind, which is always nice. I don't think there's any... There's probably like 3 other water types that get Tailwind, and those are the flying types, like Mantine, Pelipper, whatever, so you know, in comes the Swanner. I am just going to go straight for a Tailwind on this turn, I think, because I feel like Swanner is going to be naturally faster. He does miss the Air Slash. I don't know if that was crucial. It wouldn't have killed, but it would have done a decent chunk nonetheless. So I go for the Ice Beam. Does a pretty damn good chunk, actually. That Life Orb Modest Ice Beam from Luminion. Do not mess with that. But now he gets up his own Tailwind, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like I said, Swanner, Mantine, Pelipper, I think are all capable of carrying it, so... Just gonna go for a T-Wave for no apparent reason, then he still outspeeds me because Beheeyem is just slow as molasses, like I said. But now in comes the Mightyena once again as I go into my Shrew Manchu, who's getting some more screen time. Sorry, Tentacle, you're back in the box for now. You'll be killed another day. Goes for the Dark Gem boosted Crunch. By the way, I think that's actually a pretty good idea for just setting up the Mightyena. I normally run lefties, but it can be good for a head start, like a instant kill and then get the attack raised, but I also thought of running like a Dark Pulse one, just for bulky physical walls like Sandshrew. Like if you Dark Pulse it, you'll kill it, but you'll still get like a physical attack raise, so I think it works like that. I think you can kill it with anything and it will still get the attack raise, but yeah, something to bear in mind. So I go into my Blossom here. Don't know if it's necessary or not, but I really didn't want him getting a Moxie boost. Probably should have stayed in and then gone to Blossom after that, but ain't even worried, bro. Just gonna go out into my Exploud as Death Fodder because I do not need it anymore. Goes to sleep, and I don't have any Heal Bellas on my team apparently, so just gonna take a Frustration from this thing. Now, I'm suspecting it's Choice Banded because most Slackings are, and, you know, I have no idea what he has because that would have killed anyway, but that's just my guess, basically. But I thought he would try and go out into his Yamask here, so I go for Knockoff. But he does make the good play, stays in, and it turns out he has Lumberry, which is, I guess, useful for getting rid of random burns or whatever that happen to come across slacking. So I fodder off my Blossom there because if Sandshrew dies, that thing is basically dead anyway, so I may as well fodder it now. Now he goes to Yamask as I go for the Flame Charge. Again, not too much happening here. I get the Mummy ability, obviously, so I don't get the Guts boost. That means he lives the next hit, and it means that, unfortunately, Flareon dies on this turn because it didn't matter what I went for. He would die to poison damage anyway, so I thought I may as well superpower in case he feels like going to his Slacking to get the Mummy ability, so now I go to Luminion. Just gonna go for a Surf and finish this thing off. Now, it's Slacking versus Luminion and Sandshrew. I can do this because of Truant. I'm thinking, right, if he's running the Mummy King thing, he's going to have Pursuit. So I'm not going to switch out because he's going to Pursuit me, kill me, and then I'm left with Sandshrew. But no, it turns out he just goes for Frustration. I think he said that he didn't feel like going for Pursuit just because Mummy wasn't active, so he didn't really see the point. But it definitely works out for him. He takes out my Luminion, and poor little Sandshrew can't even put a dent in this thing. Look at it! Huge, big, fat blob with, like, uber stats, with only the Truant ability holding it back, but yeah, you gotta love Slacking, man. Slacking always causes me problems, but it's a damn good Pokemon. I don't know how it's still in PU, honestly. But that was a great match. Very close indeed. Actually, I did a damage calc afterwards, and I think I would have lived a Pursuit anyway, even if I did switch out, so I guess that was the best play, and then I could have come back in and Hyper Beamed or whatever. Yeah, I have Hyper Beam because I couldn't think of another move to give it, but yeah, that was a great match, Xenon, so if you enjoyed, feel free to check out his channel, and with that being said, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.